Hello YouTube, welcome back to Darkmoon Metals. In today's video we're going to talk a little bit about plug welding. I'm going to be using this technique to fill in a hole, join two pieces of mild steel together where I don't want a weld bead to be seen, and I'm also going to be welding 4 layers of stainless steel together using the plug welding technique. So we're going to do a little bit of TIG, a little bit of MIG, and a lot of coffee. Stay tuned, we'll get rolling. I got my metal cleaned up and all prepped for welding. I am going to be doing a plug weld on this hole, basically filling it in as if I drilled a hole in a wrong spot in a plate and I want to salvage the plate, I don't want to scrap it. We're just going to fill this in with weld. One thing that I would recommend, this right here is a scrap piece of aluminum. If you're plug welding steel, aluminum is really handy to have because the weld wire won't stick to the aluminum and you can use the aluminum as a backing plate. So let me fire up the MIG and we'll do the plug weld. Here we are after the plug weld and a little bit of time on the belt sander. You can see how easy it is to correct a mistake if you happen to drill a hole in the wrong spot and you can't afford to scrap a part or you don't have enough material to make another one. Now this hole over here I'm going to be doing the second part of the demonstration. Let's say I want to make a guide and I'm going to be sliding material across this top plate. Simple 90-degree guide. Let's say I want to put this on my belt sander or something and I want to have a 90 degree to push up against the belt and I don't want to have a weld bead because it'll interfere with the movement of the pieces that I'm trying to process in the belt sander. So what I'm going to do is plug weld it from the back, grind this smooth, and it'll be seamless. There won't be a weld bead visible anywhere on the piece. So let's go ahead and weld that out. So here we are after the plug weld. Now if I were to put this on my belt sander or bench grinder or anything, I could clamp this piece to the table, and if this is my guide, there's no weld bead at all to interfere with pieces sliding back and forth against the guide. The next thing I'm going to do is do a little bit of TIG welding. Now this particular demonstration was inspired by a video I did a short time ago about spot welding. And the question that a subscriber had is, what if you wanted to spot weld more than 2 pieces of metal together? I've only ever seen people do it with 2 pieces. And I honestly didn't know the answer to it, and I tried spot welding 4 pieces of metal together. The machine's capacity was, let's say it was 5 millimeters, and each one of the pieces was a millimeter thick, and I tried doing 4 in one shot. Now I originally figured that, hey, you know, it's within the capacity of the machine to weld, so why wouldn't it? And as you'll see in a second, it failed miserably.
And that is, people generally see spot welding demonstrations where you're joining 2 pieces of metal together. And the question that pops up is, well, can you join more than 2 pieces? I've never tried it, I've never had the reason to, but I think that if the combined thickness of the material is within the capabilities of the welder to actually send that current through and get them to fuse, I don't see why not, but I've never tried it, so I am going to try it right now. I'm not even seeing it turn red yet. Oh, and the answer is no. It did not work, even though these are well within the range of this to process.
After that experiment failed, the question was asked, well, what if I wanted to join 4 pieces of metal together? And my answer was simply to drill 3 holes, leave your 4th piece as your base, and plug weld each one of these. Now, it's going to be difficult to plug weld all 4 of them together simultaneously, so what I'm going to do is just plug weld one, grind it, put the next one on, grind it, and then put the last one on, and do the final plug weld and the final grinding. So let's break out the TIG. I'm set up and ready to weld. This is a piece of scrap. I'm using this as a riser to keep this level. Now, because these are such small pieces, I'm not going to use vice grips or anything to hold them together, but if you're welding larger pieces together, you're definitely going to want to have them clamped with a C-clamp or a vice grip or something like that. You want to have the seams as tight together as you can, because you're not going to be filling the seams in with weld metal. You're going to just be relying on the plug weld. So I'm going to go ahead and start up the TIG, and we're going to plug weld this first, then I'm going to grind it and then add the other two pieces with plug weld grind, and that'll give us the 4 layers completed. I'm using the TIG because this is stainless steel. Each one of these pieces is 1 millimeter thick, and when we're done we're going to have kind of a cross thing going on. You know what, YouTube? That's pretty flush. I'm not going to bother grinding it. I'm just going to add the next piece and keep going. Prop this up a little. Oh. Need just a little bit more. Well, it's nowhere near as flat as I would like, but I'm going to weld it anyway. It's basically only a demo, so it's not critical. Well, there you have it, YouTube. I didn't bother to clean up the weld. That is the actual weld profile. I got it down pretty thin. This total combined stack is probably about 4 millimeters, maybe 4.5 millimeters. It's not the prettiest technique in the world, but you can do it in lieu of a spot welder. Spot welders will not penetrate those 4 layers. So to answer my subscriber's question, this is how I would do it. It's definitely strong enough. Well, YouTube, as you can see, plug welding is a very basic but useful technique. Now, this video was actually spawned from a subscriber or viewer who asked a simple question about spot welding a week or so ago. And I filmed a short video on spot welding, and as you saw from the clip, I even learned something I didn't know before. I had no idea that you couldn't join more than 2 pieces of metal together using spot welding because I had never tried it. Once that video was filmed, he came back with another question. Well, if you had to do that, how would you? So plug welding popped into my head and I said, okay, I'm going to do a video on plug welding. This is how I typically add content to my channel. So if you have any questions at all, whether it's blacksmithing, light machining, stuff on the lathe, things like that, fabrication work, the welding processes, please feel free, throw me a line, drop a comment, ask a question. If it's something that I can make a video on and share the information with other people, I will be more than happy to do that. My channel, I don't really have a theme. It's primarily metalworking, of course, but I don't do tool reviews. I don't do one subject and a lot of multi-part videos. It's just very simple things educational little videos. I have 5,500 subscribers. I don't have thousands and thousands of subscribers like some of the other welding channels or machining channels out on YouTube. But I truly am honored for the subscribers that I do have, because I'm down to earth. I don't have a lot of entertainment value, as it were, and the following that I do have means a lot. The questions and comments truly mean a lot, and I want to thank everybody out there for your continued support for my channel, for keeping me going, for asking me questions, and for participating in my little online YouTube adventure. So once again, this has been Jeff at Darkmoon Metals, and I'll see you in the next video.